Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly achieve their goals, while others struggle to make progress despite working hard? The secret often lies in their habits. Success isn't about luck or talent. It's about the small, consistent actions you take every day. This book is your guide to building habits that fuel lifelong growth. Together, we'll explore how to identify the habits that work for you, break free from limiting patterns, and create routines that align with your goals. Whether you want to excel professionally, improve your relationships, or simply live a more fulfilling life, developing the right habits is the key. Through relatable examples, practical exercises, and an encouraging tone, this book will show you how to focus your efforts and create a foundation for sustained success. Let's begin the journey toward building habits that transform your life. Chapter 1. The Power of Habits. Why they shape your success. Have you ever paused to think about how much of your day is guided by habits? From brushing your teeth in the morning to scrolling through your phone before bed, habits shape our actions, often without us even realizing it. They operate in the background, influencing not just what we do, but how we feel and the direction our lives take. While some habits are helpful, others quietly steer us off course, holding us back from reaching our full potential. The good news is that by understanding how habits work, you can take control and use them as tools to achieve your goals. Habits are like the autopilot of our lives. They reduce the mental effort needed to make decisions, allowing us to focus our energy on more important things. For example, think of a student who struggles with studying. They may procrastinate, feeling overwhelmed by the task and unsure where to begin. However, a student with the habit of dedicating just 30 minutes a day to studying doesn't have to fight the same internal battle. The habit takes over, removing the decision-making process and making progress automatic. This shows the power of habits. Once established, they make consistency effortless. Research shows that habits account for about 40% of our daily actions. This means that almost half of what we do is automatic, shaped by routines we've built over time. Imagine if those routines were intentionally designed to align with your goals. You could wake up feeling energized, tackle tasks with clarity, and steadily move closer to success, day by day, step by step. The best part? Habits don't require you to rely on willpower alone. Once a habit is formed, it runs on its own, freeing up mental energy for other pursuits. Take the example of Serena, a young professional who wanted to improve her fitness. At first, she found it hard to stick to a workout routine. She would start with enthusiasm, but quickly lose interest, as motivation alone wasn't enough to sustain her. Then she made one small change. She began laying out her workout clothes the night before. This simple habit served as a cue. Every morning, seeing the clothes reminded her of her commitment to exercise. Over time, going to the gym became automatic, no longer a decision she had to wrestle with each day. The result? She not only improved her health but also gained confidence and energy, which positively affected other areas of her life. A single habit acted as a domino, setting off a cascade of positive changes. Habits are powerful because they compound over time. Think of them as tiny investments in yourself. A small, positive habit practiced consistently can lead to big changes. For instance, reading for just 10 minutes a day might not seem like much, but over a year, that's more than 60 hours of reading, enough to gain valuable knowledge and skills. On the flip side, small negative habits like checking social media every hour can add up to lost time and missed opportunities. These seemingly minor actions, repeated daily, have the power to shape your future. The key to harnessing the power of habits is awareness. You need to recognize the habits that serve you and those that hold you back. Start by observing your daily routines. What actions come naturally to you? Which ones feel effortless? These are your habits in action. Are they helping you move closer to your goals, or are they acting as roadblocks? Awareness is the first step in taking control. Without it, habits remain invisible forces driving your behavior. But with awareness, you gain the ability to make intentional choices. If you want to change your habits, it's important to start small. Many people make the mistake of trying to overhaul their entire routine overnight. They vow to eat healthier, exercise daily, and wake up earlier, all at once. This often leads to burnout. Instead, focus on building one habit at a time. Success comes from consistency, not perfection. Small, manageable changes are more sustainable and far more likely to stick. Let's consider another example. James, a busy entrepreneur, wanted to improve his productivity. He often felt scattered, juggling multiple tasks without making significant progress. The thought of reorganizing his entire workday felt overwhelming. Instead of overloading himself with drastic changes, James started with a single habit: writing a to-do list each morning. This habit took less than 5 minutes but had a profound impact. It helped him prioritize his tasks, stay organized, and achieve more in his day. Over time, this small habit became the cornerstone of a more focused and productive routine. Your habits define your future. They shape your identity, influence your progress, and determine the outcomes you achieve. If you want to change your life, start by changing your habits. Begin with one small step that feels manageable. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water every morning, setting aside time to plan your day, or practicing gratitude before bed. These small actions might seem insignificant at first, but they create momentum. Each time you repeat the habit, you strengthen it, making it easier to continue. One helpful framework for building habits is the habit loop, which consists of 3 parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger that prompts you to act, such as seeing your workout clothes. The routine is the action you take, like going to the gym. The reward is the benefit you experience, such as feeling energized or accomplished. By understanding this loop, you can intentionally design habits that stick. It's also important to track your progress. Celebrating small wins reinforces the habit and keeps you motivated. For example, if you're building a habit of journaling, acknowledge the sense of clarity you feel after each session. Positive reinforcement makes it more likely that you'll continue. Remember, habits aren't about perfection, they're about persistence. As you reflect on your own habits, ask yourself, what small change can I make today that will lead to a bigger transformation tomorrow? The path to success isn't about grand gestures, it's about consistent, intentional steps. Over time, these steps build a foundation for the life you want to create. As you move forward, remember that setbacks are part of the process. Changing habits takes time and effort. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories along the way. Each positive habit you build is a step toward the person you want to become. To apply what you've learned in this chapter, take a moment to reflect. What is one habit you can start today that will bring you closer to your goals? Begin with something simple and commit to it. As you embrace the power of habits, you'll unlock the potential to create a life of lasting success. Chapter 2: The Foundation of Focus. Defining your goals. Do you ever feel like you're working hard but not making meaningful progress? The truth is, without clear goals, your efforts can scatter in every direction, leaving you overwhelmed and unsatisfied. Success doesn't happen by chance. It begins with clarity. When you define your goals, you create a map that guides your actions and ensures your habits are working towards something meaningful. Imagine setting out on a road trip with no destination in mind. You might drive for hours, taking random turns, but without a clear endpoint, you'll eventually feel lost. The same is true for life. Your goals act as the destination, giving your journey purpose. Without them, it's easy to waste time and energy on activities that don't bring you closer to what you truly want. Let's consider the story of Priya, a marketing professional who felt stuck in her career. She worked long hours, yet she didn't feel fulfilled. One day, she sat down and wrote her career goals. She wanted to move into a leadership role within 3 years. With this goal in mind, she identified the skills and experiences she needed, such as public speaking and team management. Slowly but steadily, she began focusing on these areas. She took on new projects, enrolled in a leadership course, and volunteered to lead meetings. 3 years later, Priya achieved her goal and felt a renewed sense of purpose. The act of defining your goals creates focus, helping you avoid distractions and channel your energy into what truly matters. When your goals are clear, it's easier to say no to opportunities that don't align with them. This doesn't mean you have to plan every detail of your life, but having a sense of direction ensures your efforts are purposeful. One of the most important aspects of setting goals is making them specific and meaningful. A vague goal like, I want to be healthier, is hard to act on because it lacks clarity. In contrast, a goal like, I will exercise for 30 minutes 5 times a week, gives you a clear target to aim for. Specific goals not only clarify your intentions, but also make it easier to track your progress and stay motivated. Let's take another example. Daniel, a college student who wanted to improve his grades. Initially, his goal was simply to do better in school, but this was too broad to guide his actions. After reflecting on his struggles, he set a more specific goal. I will study for 2 hours every evening and review my notes weekly. With this plan in place, Daniel began to see steady improvements. His grades rose, and he felt more confident about his abilities. Defining your goals also means connecting them to your values. When your goals align with what truly matters to you, they become more motivating. For instance, if you value family, setting a goal to spend more quality time with loved ones will feel rewarding. On the other hand, pursuing goals that don't resonate with your values can lead to frustration and burnout. A common mistake is setting goals based on what others expect, rather than what you genuinely want. For example, Susan, a successful lawyer, realized she wasn't happy despite achieving the career her parents had encouraged. She took time to reflect on her values and discovered her true passion was teaching. By redefining her goals, she transitioned into a role as a law professor, where she found joy and fulfillment. Once you've defined your goals, it's crucial to break them into smaller, actionable steps. A big goal can feel overwhelming, but when you divide it into manageable pieces, it becomes achievable. For instance, if your goal is to run a marathon, you might start by running short distances a few times a week, gradually increasing your mileage. Each small step brings you closer to your destination. It's also important to revisit your goals regularly. Life changes, and your goals may need to adapt. Reassessing your goals ensures they remain relevant and meaningful. For example, John, a business owner, initially set a goal to expand his company nationwide. However, after starting a family, he realized he valued work-life balance more than rapid growth. He adjusted his goal to focus on building a stable local business that allowed him to spend more time with his children. To apply this chapter's concept in your own life, take a moment to reflect. What are your top 3 goals right now? Write them down, making sure they are specific and aligned with your values. Then, consider one small step you can take today to move closer to each goal. By defining your goals, you lay the foundation for focus and success. Remember, clarity is the starting point of achievement. When you know where you're going, every step becomes more meaningful. Keep your goals in sight and let them guide your journey toward a fulfilling and purpose-driven life. Chapter 3. Rewiring for Success. Breaking limiting patterns. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "This is just the way I am," when trying to explain a habit or behavior that's holding you back? While it might feel like certain patterns are ingrained, the truth is, habits are not permanent. You have the power to break free from limiting behaviors and replace them with ones that empower your growth. Rewiring your habits begins with awareness, intention, and the belief that change is possible. Habits, both good and bad, are shaped by repetition. Over time, actions that start as deliberate choices become automatic. For example, if you've developed the habit of checking your phone first thing in the morning, it probably began as a conscious decision, but eventually turned into a routine. While this habit might seem harmless, it can set the tone for a distracted and reactive day. Breaking this pattern involves more than willpower. It requires understanding what drives the behavior and creating new, intentional habits to replace it. Consider Maya, a graphic designer who often procrastinated on client projects. She found herself scrolling through social media instead of working on her designs, which led to missed deadlines and stress. Maya realized her procrastination wasn't about laziness. It was a way to avoid the anxiety she felt about starting big projects. Once she identified the root cause, she took steps to break the cycle. She began by setting a timer for 20 minutes of focused work, followed by a short break. Over time, this approach helped her build momentum and complete tasks without feeling overwhelmed. To rewire limiting habits, it's crucial to recognize the triggers that initiate them. Triggers can be environmental, emotional, or even social. For instance, A person might snack mindlessly every evening because they associate sitting on the couch with eating. By changing the trigger, like sitting at the dining table instead, they can disrupt the habit loop and create space for a healthier routine. Another important aspect of breaking limiting patterns is replacing them with positive behaviors. Simply trying to eliminate a habit without a replacement often leads to frustration. Imagine someone who wants to stop drinking sugary sodas. If they don't replace the soda with a satisfying alternative like flavored water or herbal tea, they're likely to fall back into the old habit. The key is to focus not on what you're losing, but on what you're gaining, a healthier, more energized version of yourself. Let's explore the story of Alex, a sales executive who struggled with negative self-talk. Whenever he faced a challenging situation, his inner critic would take over, saying things like, "You're not good enough," or "You're going to fail." This habit of self-doubt held him back from taking risks and reaching his potential. To break this pattern, Alex started practicing affirmations. Each morning, he would write down 3 positive statements about himself, such as "I am capable," or "I learn from challenges." Over time, these affirmations helped rewire his thought patterns, boosting his confidence and performance at work. Breaking limiting patterns also requires patience. Habits that took years to develop won't disappear overnight. It's normal to slip up, but what matters is how you respond. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, treat them as opportunities to learn and adjust. For example, if you're trying to build a habit of exercising regularly but miss a few days, don't give up. Reflect on what caused the lapse and make a plan to get back on track. The role of environment in shaping habits cannot be overstated. Your surroundings can either support or sabotage your efforts to change. If you're trying to eat healthier, keeping junk food out of the house and stocking up on nutritious snacks can make a significant difference. Similarly, if you want to reduce distractions while working, creating a clean, dedicated workspace can help you stay focused. A powerful tool for breaking limiting patterns is visualization. Imagine yourself successfully replacing an old habit with a new one. Visualize the steps you'll take, the challenges you might face, and how you'll overcome them. This mental rehearsal prepares your brain for real-life action, making it easier to follow through. Ultimately, breaking limiting patterns is about creating a new identity. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to quit smoking," say, "I'm not a smoker." This subtle shift in language reflects a deeper change in how you see yourself. When you align your habits with the person you want to become, change becomes more sustainable and meaningful. To apply this chapter's concept, take a moment to reflect on one habit that's holding you back. What triggers it, and what purpose does it serve in your life? Now think of a positive habit you can introduce to replace it. Commit to practicing this new habit for the next 21 days, and observe how it begins to reshape your actions and mindset. Rewiring for success isn't easy, but it's worth it. Each step you take toward breaking limiting patterns brings you closer to the life you envision. Believe in your ability to change, and remember that every new habit you build is a victory worth celebrating. Chapter 4: Building the Framework. Start small, aim big. When you think about creating lasting change in your life, does it ever feel overwhelming? Many people set ambitious goals but struggle to maintain momentum because they try to change too much, too quickly. The secret to building sustainable habits lies in starting small. Small steps, taken consistently, lay the foundation for big achievements over time. Imagine a musician learning a new instrument. If they try to master a complex piece on day 1, they'll likely feel frustrated and give up. However, if they begin with simple scales and short practice sessions, they gradually build the skills needed to tackle challenging compositions. The same principle applies to any goal. Starting small allows you to build confidence and establish a routine, creating momentum for greater progress. Let's take the story of Sarah, a busy mother who wanted to incorporate exercise into her routine. Initially, she aimed to work out for an hour every day, but after a few attempts, she felt exhausted and unmotivated, especially with her demanding schedule. Instead of giving up, Sarah decided to start small. She committed to just 5 minutes of exercise each morning. While this seemed insignificant at first, the act of showing up every day helped her develop the habit. Over time, Those 5 minutes grew into 20, then 30, until regular exercise became a natural part of her life. Starting small doesn't mean lowering your ambitions. It's about creating a framework that sets you up for success. When you aim too high from the outset, the effort required can feel daunting, leading to procrastination or burnout. By focusing on manageable actions, you reduce the mental resistance and make it easier to stay consistent. A practical way to apply this is by focusing on micro habits, tiny actions that are so simple, they feel almost effortless. For instance, if your goal is to read more, commit to reading just 1 page a day. If you want to meditate, start with 1 deep breath. These small actions might seem trivial, but they serve as the building blocks for larger habits. The key is consistency. Even the smallest action, when repeated daily, can lead to meaningful change. Consider the example of James, an aspiring writer who struggled to find time to work on his novel. He often told himself he needed hours of uninterrupted time to write, which rarely happened. Frustrated by his lack of progress, he decided to start small by writing just 1 sentence a day. This tiny commitment removed the pressure and made writing feel achievable. Most days, he ended up writing more than a sentence, but even on busy days, he kept his streak alive. Over months, those sentences turned into chapters, and eventually, James completed his first draft. Starting small also helps you build trust in yourself. Each time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how minor, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of change. This positive reinforcement creates a ripple effect, making it easier to take on larger challenges as your confidence grows. It's important to pair small actions with a clear vision of your larger goal. Think of it like planting a seed. While the seed itself is tiny, it holds the potential to grow into a towering tree. Similarly, small habits may seem insignificant in the moment, but when nurtured consistently, they lead to significant transformations. A great way to ensure your small steps align with your bigger goals is to use the concept of habit stacking. Habit stacking involves attaching a new habit to an existing one, creating a natural trigger for the new behavior. For example, if you want to build a habit of journaling, you could stack it onto your morning coffee routine by committing to write a few sentences while sipping your coffee. This approach leverages existing patterns, making it easier to integrate new habits into your life. Another example is Emily, a sales representative who wanted to improve her communication skills. She felt overwhelmed by the idea of practicing long presentations or role-playing scenarios. Instead, she started with a small habit, leaving voice memos for herself to practice her tone and clarity. She recorded just 1 memo each day, focusing on a single aspect of her delivery. Over time, this simple exercise built her confidence and improved her public speaking abilities. Remember, the goal is not perfection, but progress. Small actions accumulate over time, creating a powerful compound effect. Just like saving a few dollars every day can grow into a significant amount over years, consistent effort in building habits can lead to profound changes. As you reflect on this chapter, think about one area of your life where you want to grow. What is one small, manageable action you can take today to move closer to that goal? It doesn't have to be grand or impressive, it just has to be something you can commit to daily. Write it down and give yourself permission to start small. When you embrace the power of small steps, you unlock the potential to achieve big dreams. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and each small habit you build is a stepping stone toward lifelong growth. Stay consistent, stay patient, and watch how those small actions transform your life. Chapter 5. Consistency is key. Turning habits into rituals. Have you ever started something new with enthusiasm, only to lose momentum a few weeks later? Whether it's exercising, eating healthier, or pursuing a creative project, many people struggle to maintain consistency. Yet consistency is the secret ingredient that transforms actions into habits and habits into rituals. When you stay consistent, even small efforts compound over time, creating meaningful, lasting change. Consistency works because it removes the decision-making process from your daily routine. Instead of constantly debating whether or not to take action, the habit becomes automatic. Imagine a commuter who takes the same route to work every day. They don't have to think about each turn, they simply follow the path they've established. This is the essence of consistency, creating patterns that become second nature. Consider the example of David, a young man who wanted to improve his physical fitness. At first, he would go to the gym sporadically, working out intensely on some days and skipping others. His inconsistent approach left him feeling frustrated, as he wasn't seeing the results he wanted. David then decided to focus on showing up consistently, even if it meant doing shorter, less intense workouts. Instead of aiming for perfection, he committed to exercising 5 days a week, no matter how small the effort. Over time, this consistency paid off. Not only did he see physical improvements, but he also built the mental habit of prioritizing his health. Consistency isn't about doing things perfectly, it's about doing them regularly. The goal is to build momentum, which makes it easier to sustain the habit over time. This is why starting small, as discussed in the previous chapter, is so powerful. When you set realistic expectations and follow through consistently, you create a sense of accomplishment that motivates you to keep going. One of the biggest barriers to consistency is the tendency to rely on motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes, often when you least expect it. Discipline, on the other hand, is what keeps you going when motivation fades. Discipline is built through consistency. Each time you follow through on a habit, you strengthen your ability to take action regardless of how you feel. Let's look at Sarah, a writer who aspired to complete her first novel. She often waited for inspiration to strike, which meant she went weeks without writing. Frustrated by her lack of progress, Sarah decided to set a simple rule: write for 30 minutes every morning, no matter what. Some days, the words flowed easily. Other days, it felt like a struggle. But by showing up consistently, she finished her manuscript within a year. Her consistency turned writing into a ritual, a non-negotiable part of her day. Consistency also reinforces your identity. When you repeatedly engage in a habit, you begin to see yourself as the kind of person who does that activity. For example, if you consistently go for a run every morning, you start identifying as a runner. This shift in self-perception strengthens your commitment to the habit, making it easier to maintain over the long term. Environment plays a significant role in fostering consistency. When your surroundings support your habits, it becomes easier to stay on track. For instance, if you want to read more, keeping a book on your nightstand or desk serves as a visual reminder. Similarly, if you're trying to eat healthier, stocking your kitchen with nutritious foods reduces the temptation to stray from your goals. It's also important to create a system for tracking your progress. When you can see tangible evidence of your efforts, it reinforces your commitment. This doesn't have to be complicated. A simple checklist, journal, or app can help you keep track of your habits. For example, Marcus, a software engineer, used a calendar to mark each day he meditated. Seeing the streak of marked days motivated him to keep going, even on days when he felt busy or unmotivated. Another key to maintaining consistency is forgiving yourself for slip-ups. No one is perfect, and setbacks are a natural part of the journey. What matters most is how you respond to them. Instead of letting a missed day derail your progress, view it as a temporary pause and get back on track the next day. This mindset helps prevent the all-or-nothing thinking that often leads to giving up entirely. To illustrate this, imagine Emma, who was building a habit of cooking dinner at home. One hectic week, she ordered takeout 3 nights in a row and felt like she had failed. Instead of abandoning her goal, Emma reminded herself that consistency is about the overall pattern, not perfection. She planned her meals for the following week and returned to her routine. Over time, this flexible approach helped her sustain her cooking habit. Consistency transforms ordinary habits into rituals, actions that feel meaningful and intentional. Rituals give structure to your day and create a sense of stability, even in the face of challenges. For instance, starting your morning with a ritual like journaling or stretching sets a positive tone for the rest of the day. These small rituals can anchor you, helping you navigate life with greater focus and intention. As you reflect on this chapter, think about one habit you've been trying to build. What can you do to make it more consistent? Consider starting with a simple commitment you can stick to every day, no matter how small. Write it down and set a reminder to follow through. Remember, consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, again and again, until the habit becomes a natural part of who you are. By embracing consistency, you unlock the power to turn your habits into rituals that shape your life. Each small, consistent action brings you closer to your goals, proving that success is built not in a single leap, but in the steady rhythm of daily effort. Chapter 6. The Motivation Myth: Building Discipline Over Drive. Have you ever set a goal and waited for the spark of motivation to push you into action? Motivation can feel like an exciting surge of energy, but relying on it often leads to inconsistency. The truth is, motivation is fleeting, unpredictable, and unreliable as a foundation for lasting change. Discipline, on the other hand, is the steady force that keeps you moving forward, even on days when you don't feel like it. Motivation has its place. It can ignite the desire to start something new. However, it's discipline that sustains progress when motivation fades. Think of it like planting a garden. Motivation might be the excitement of choosing seeds and preparing the soil, but discipline is the daily act of watering, weeding, and tending to the plants, even when the novelty has worn off. Without discipline, the garden will never thrive. Take the story of Rachel, a software developer who wanted to learn a new programming language. She started with enthusiasm, spending hours on tutorials during the first week. But as the initial excitement wore off, she found it harder to stay consistent. That's when Rachel shifted her approach. Instead of waiting for bursts of motivation, she created a disciplined routine, dedicating 30 minutes each evening to practice, regardless of her mood. Over time, this steady effort helped her master the language and advance her career. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. This might sound daunting, but discipline is a skill you can develop. It begins with small, intentional actions that build your ability to follow through. Each time you act with discipline, you strengthen your resolve and make it easier to repeat the behavior in the future. A key part of building discipline is understanding your why. When your actions are tied to a meaningful purpose, it becomes easier to stay committed. For example, John, a teacher, struggled with waking up early to plan his lessons. He often hit snooze, telling himself he could prepare during the day. But this led to rushed mornings and added stress. When John focused on his why, providing the best learning experience for his students, he found it easier to stick to his early morning routine. Connecting his discipline to a larger purpose gave his actions meaning. Another important aspect of discipline is creating systems that reduce friction. When you make it easier to take action, you're more likely to follow through. For instance, if your goal is to exercise regularly, laying out your workout clothes the night before eliminates one decision in the morning. By minimizing obstacles, you set yourself up for success, even when motivation is low. Consider Maria, a novelist who struggled with writer's block. She often waited for inspiration to strike, but this approach left her feeling stuck. To overcome this, Maria created a system. She wrote at the same time every day, in the same spot, with her favorite cup of tea. This ritual signaled her brain that it was time to write, whether she felt inspired or not. By showing up consistently, Maria discovered that creativity often followed discipline, not the other way around. Discipline is also about embracing discomfort. Growth requires stepping out of your comfort zone and pushing through challenges. It's not always easy, but each time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your resilience. For example, think of an athlete training for a marathon. Running long distances is physically and mentally demanding, but the discipline to train consistently builds endurance and prepares them for success on race day. One common barrier to discipline is the fear of failure. Many people avoid taking action because they worry about not doing it perfectly. But discipline isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Each small step, no matter how imperfect, moves you closer to your goal. Embracing this mindset helps you take action, even when doubts arise. Another challenge is the tendency to rely on willpower alone. While willpower can be helpful in the moment, it's a limited resource. Discipline, on the other hand, becomes a habit that operates on autopilot, reducing the need for constant decision-making. For example, if you commit to brushing your teeth every night before bed, you don't rely on willpower to remember. It's simply part of your routine. The same principle applies to other habits you want to build. Over time, discipline leads to a sense of pride and self-trust. When you consistently follow through on your commitments, you prove to yourself that you're capable of achieving what you set out to do. This positive reinforcement creates a cycle of success where each disciplined action fuels your confidence and motivation. To make discipline work for you, start by focusing on one small, consistent action. Think of it as a muscle you're strengthening. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. For example, if you want to develop a habit of reading, commit to reading 1 page a day. As this habit becomes ingrained, you can gradually increase the effort. As you reflect on this chapter, ask yourself, what goal are you currently pursuing, and how can discipline play a role in achieving it? What systems or routines can you create to support your efforts, even when motivation is low? Write down one small, specific action you can take today to build discipline in that area of your life. By shifting your focus from fleeting motivation to steady discipline, you unlock the power to achieve lasting success. Discipline may not always feel exciting, but it's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Embrace it, nurture it, and watch as it transforms your goals into reality. Chapter 7. Tracking Progress. Measuring what matters. Have you ever worked hard toward a goal, but felt uncertain about your progress? It's easy to lose focus or motivation when you can't clearly see how far you've come. Tracking your progress is the key to staying on course and ensuring your efforts are moving you closer to your goals. When you measure what matters, you not only celebrate your wins, but also identify areas for improvement, creating a clearer path to success. Progress tracking is like a compass that guides your journey. Without it, you might work tirelessly in the wrong direction, wasting time and energy. By monitoring your efforts, you stay aligned with your goals and gain valuable insights into what's working and what isn't. This awareness helps you make informed adjustments, increasing your chances of success. Consider the story of Daniel, the young entrepreneur who set out to grow his online business. At first, he put in long hours creating content and marketing his services, but his results felt inconsistent. Daniel decided to track key metrics like website traffic, conversion rates, and customer feedback. This data revealed that most of his sales came from email campaigns, while his social media efforts were less effective. By focusing more on email marketing, Daniel was able to grow his business steadily and achieve his goals. Tracking progress also keeps you motivated. When you see tangible evidence of your efforts paying off, it reinforces your belief in your ability to succeed. For example, someone trying to lose weight might feel discouraged if they only focus on the scale. But by tracking other metrics like inches lost, energy levels, or improved stamina, they can see the full picture of their progress. Each small win fuels their motivation to keep going. To effectively track progress, it's important to measure what truly matters. Not all metrics are created equal, and focusing on the wrong ones can lead to frustration or wasted effort. For instance, a writer might obsess over social media followers instead of tracking their word count or completed drafts. By identifying the metrics that align with your goals, you ensure that your tracking efforts are meaningful and actionable. Let's explore how this principle applies to Sophia, a college student who wanted to improve her study habits. Instead of simply aiming to study more, she tracked specific metrics like hours spent studying, topics covered, and her performance on practice tests. This approach gave her a clear understanding of her progress and helped her identify which study methods were most effective. Over time, Sophia's grades improved and she gained confidence in her ability to succeed academically. Another benefit of tracking progress is that it highlights patterns and trends. By reviewing your progress over time, you can spot habits or behaviors that contribute to your success or hinder it. For example, a runner training for a marathon might notice that their performance improves when they prioritize rest and nutrition. Armed with this insight, they can make adjustments to optimize their results. Tracking doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. Simple tools like journals, spreadsheets, or habit tracking apps can help you stay organized and focused. For instance, if your goal is to build a daily meditation practice, you could mark each successful day on a calendar, Over time, the visual streak becomes a source of pride and motivation, encouraging you to stay consistent. However, it's important to strike a balance between tracking and action. While tracking is valuable, spending too much time measuring progress can become a distraction. The goal is to use tracking as a tool to support your efforts, not replace them. For example, Emma, a freelance designer, initially spent hours analyzing her client feedback and project timelines. While this helped her identify areas for improvement, she realized she needed to dedicate more time to actually completing her projects. By streamlining her tracking process, Emma found a balance that allowed her to focus on her work while staying accountable. Tracking progress also fosters accountability. Sharing your goals and tracking updates with a friend, mentor, or community can provide additional support and encouragement. For example, Alex, a fitness enthusiast, joined a running group where members shared their weekly mileage and celebrated each other's achievements. This sense of accountability kept him motivated and helped him stay consistent, even during challenging weeks. To make progress tracking more effective, pair it with regular reflection. Take time to review your results, celebrate your achievements, and identify areas for growth. Reflection helps you stay connected to your goals and ensures that your efforts remain purposeful. For instance, Mia, a musician learning a new instrument, set aside time each week to review her practice logs. This helped her recognize her improvements and adjust her practice sessions to focus on weaker areas. As you reflect on this chapter, consider how you can incorporate progress tracking into your own goals. Ask yourself, what metrics truly matter for the goal I'm pursuing? How can I track them in a way that feels simple and motivating? What small wins can I celebrate along the way? By measuring what matters, you create a roadmap for success, ensuring that every step you take brings you closer to your dreams. Progress tracking is more than just keeping score. It's about staying mindful of your journey and celebrating the growth that comes with consistent effort. When you measure what matters, you empower yourself to make better decisions, maintain focus, and stay motivated. Embrace the practice of tracking progress and watch how it transforms your approach to achieving your goals. Chapter 8: Resilience in Practice: Bouncing Back from Setbacks. Have you ever felt like giving up after a setback? Whether it's missing a deadline, skipping a workout, or falling short of a goal, setbacks can feel discouraging. Yet they are an inevitable part of any journey. The good news is that resilience, the ability to recover and keep going, can turn setbacks into stepping stones for growth. Learning to bounce back with determination and a positive mindset is what separates those who give up from those who achieve success. Resilience doesn't mean avoiding failure. It means responding to challenges with flexibility and strength. Think of a tree in a storm. Its branches may bend, but they don't break because its roots are strong. Similarly, when you face setbacks, resilience helps you stay grounded, adapt, and continue moving forward. Consider the story of Lily, a small business owner who dreamed of opening a second location. She spent months planning and investing in the new space, only to face an unexpected financial setback that forced her to delay the project. At first, Lily felt defeated, but she reminded herself why she started in the first place. Instead of giving up, she used the setback as an opportunity to refine her business model and build a stronger foundation. A year later, Lily successfully opened her second location, more prepared and confident than ever. One of the first steps to building resilience is shifting how you view setbacks. Instead of seeing them as failures, try to see them as lessons. Every setback provides valuable insights about what works and what doesn't. For example, a student who struggles on a test might realize they need to adjust their study methods. By treating the setback as feedback rather than a personal flaw, they can use it to improve. Another important aspect of resilience is self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself when things don't go as planned, but negative self-talk only adds to the difficulty. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a friend. Acknowledge your effort, remind yourself that setbacks are normal, and focus on what you can do to move forward. Let's take the example of Raj, an amateur runner training for his first marathon. Halfway through his training, he injured his ankle and had to take a break from running. At first, Raj felt frustrated and doubted whether he could complete the marathon. But instead of giving up, he focused on what he could do. He worked with a physical therapist, strengthened his upper body, and visualized himself crossing the finish line. When his ankle healed, Raj resumed his training and successfully completed the marathon, proud of his resilience. Building resilience also requires staying connected to your purpose. When you keep your why in mind, it's easier to stay motivated, even in the face of challenges. For instance, a parent who wants to build a better future for their children may find strength to persevere through tough financial times. When your purpose is clear, it becomes a source of energy and determination. Another strategy for cultivating resilience is reframing setbacks as temporary. When a challenge feels overwhelming, remind yourself that it's just one chapter in a larger story. For example, Emily, a graphic designer, lost her biggest client unexpectedly. She worried it was the end of her career, but with time and effort, she found new clients who valued her work even more. Looking back, Emily realized that what felt like a major setback was actually a turning point that led to better opportunities. Resilience isn't about handling everything alone. Seeking support from friends, family, or mentors can provide encouragement and fresh perspectives. Sharing your challenges with someone you trust can make them feel less daunting and help you discover solutions you might not have considered. For example, Mark, a chef who wanted to open his own restaurant, faced numerous obstacles with permits and financing. By reaching out to a mentor in the industry, Mark gained valuable advice that helped him navigate the process and eventually achieve his goal. One powerful tool for building resilience is gratitude. Focusing on what you're grateful for shifts your mindset from what's going wrong to what's going right. Gratitude doesn't minimize challenges, but it helps you recognize the support, resources, and progress you already have. For instance, a writer struggling with rejection from publishers might feel discouraged. By practicing gratitude for their creativity and passion, they can stay motivated to keep submitting their work. As you cultivate resilience, it's also important to celebrate small victories. Each time you overcome a challenge, no matter how small, you build confidence in your ability to handle setbacks. These moments remind you of your strength and encourage you to keep moving forward. For example, Anna, a student learning a new language, often felt frustrated by her mistakes. But by celebrating each milestone, like mastering a new phrase or completing a conversation, she stayed motivated and eventually became fluent. To apply the lessons of this chapter, reflect on a recent setback you faced. How did you respond, and what did you learn from the experience? Think about one step you can take to move forward, whether it's seeking support, adjusting your approach, or simply reminding yourself of your purpose. Write it down and commit to taking action. Resilience isn't about avoiding challenges, it's about facing them with courage, flexibility, and determination. Each time you bounce back from a setback, you grow stronger and more prepared for the next opportunity. Embrace the process, trust your ability to adapt, and let resilience be the foundation that carries you toward your goals. Chapter 9. From Effort to Excellence, Refining Your Habits. Have you ever felt like you've been doing all the right things but still aren't seeing the results you want? Building good habits is the foundation of success, but refining those habits is what elevates your efforts to excellence. When you take the time to assess and improve your habits, you unlock greater potential and move closer to mastery in whatever you pursue. Habits are powerful, but even the best ones can become stagnant if left unchecked. Over time, what worked well initially may need adjustments to align with your evolving goals. Refining your habits means paying attention to the details, identifying inefficiencies, and making intentional changes that maximize your results. Think of it as fine-tuning a musical instrument. The better the adjustments, the more beautiful the sound. Take the story of Amanda, a fitness enthusiast who followed a consistent workout routine for years. While she initially saw great progress, her results began to plateau. Amanda realized that her workouts had become too repetitive, and her body had adapted to the routine. To refine her habit, she added variety by incorporating strength training and high-intensity interval workouts. These adjustments reignited her progress and reminded her of the importance of adapting habits to stay effective. Refining habits requires self-awareness. Start by asking yourself whether your habits are still serving their purpose. Are they helping you achieve your goals, or have they become mindless routines? For example, a writer who commits to writing every day might find their sessions growing less productive over time. Instead of writing for the sake of meeting a daily word count, they could focus on improving the quality of their ideas or experimenting with new techniques. One way to refine your habits is by identifying areas for improvement. This involves looking for inefficiencies or bottlenecks in your routine. Consider Mark, a project manager who started each workday by responding to emails. While this habit helped him stay on top of communication, it often delayed his progress on more critical tasks. Mark decided to refine his habit by setting specific time blocks for emails, allowing him to prioritize high-impact work earlier in the day. This small adjustment made a big difference in his productivity. Refinement also means pushing beyond your comfort zone. When habits become too easy, they lose their power to drive growth. For example, imagine a musician who practices the same basic scales every day. While this habit builds consistency, it doesn't challenge their skills. By tackling more complex pieces or learning new techniques, the musician can refine their practice and continue improving. Another key to refining habits is seeking feedback. Sometimes it's hard to see your own blind spots, and an outside perspective can provide valuable insights. For example, Sarah, a public speaker, initially practiced her presentations alone. While this habit improved her confidence, she often struggled to connect with her audience. By inviting a mentor to watch her rehearsals and provide feedback, Sarah identified areas for improvement and refined her delivery to better engage her listeners. It's also important to celebrate progress while refining your habits. Recognizing your achievements reinforces the value of your efforts and motivates you to keep going. However, refining doesn't mean being overly critical of yourself. It's about striving for growth, not perfection. For instance, Daniel, an artist, set a goal to draw every day. While he noticed steady improvement, he sometimes felt frustrated by his slow progress. By shifting his focus from flawless results to consistent learning, Daniel embraced the process of refinement and found joy in his growth. Refining habits also involves eliminating what no longer serves you. Over time, you may outgrow certain routines or realize they're not aligned with your goals. Letting go of these habits creates space for new, more effective ones. For example, Emily, a college student, initially studied late at night because it fit her schedule. However, she noticed her focus and retention improved when she studied in the mornings. By refining her study habits, Emily achieved better results with less effort. Another strategy for refining habits is tracking your progress and looking for patterns. Regularly reviewing your efforts allows you to spot what's working and where you can improve. For instance, if your goal is to exercise regularly, tracking not just the frequency, but also the intensity and duration of your workouts can reveal opportunities to enhance your routine. These insights make it easier to make targeted adjustments that lead to better outcomes. Refining your habits doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start with small, incremental changes and focus on one habit at a time. Even minor adjustments can have a significant impact when applied consistently. The key is to approach the process with curiosity and a willingness to experiment. Not every refinement will work immediately, but each one brings you closer to understanding what's most effective for you. As you reflect on this chapter, consider one habit that has been a part of your routine for a while. Ask yourself, is this habit still helping me achieve my goals? If not, what small change can I make to improve it? Write down one specific adjustment you can implement today and observe how it influences your progress. Refining your habits is an ongoing process that allows you to continuously grow and improve. By paying attention to the details and making thoughtful adjustments, you transform your efforts from good to great. Embrace the art of refinement and watch as your habits lead you toward excellence in every area of your life. Chapter 10. Lifelong Growth. Embracing a habit-centered lifestyle. What if success wasn't a destination, but a way of life? Many people view achievement as a series of endpoints, a diploma, a promotion, a personal milestone. While these moments are worth celebrating, true success comes from the habits that sustain growth throughout your life. Embracing a habit-centered lifestyle means seeing every day as an opportunity to improve, learn, and evolve. At its core, a habit-centered lifestyle is about aligning your daily actions with your long-term vision. Instead of chasing short-term wins, you build a foundation for lasting success by focusing on the small, consistent habits that lead to meaningful change. These habits become the threads that weave together a life of purpose, fulfillment, and resilience. Consider the story of Noah, a retired teacher who decided to take up painting in his 60s. At first, he doubted whether he could learn something new so late in life. But instead of fixating on the end result, Noah embraced the process. He committed to painting for 15 minutes each morning, regardless of how he felt. Over time, this small habit transformed into a daily ritual he cherished. By focusing on the habit rather than the outcome, Noah discovered a passion that enriched his life and gave him a sense of purpose. A habit-centered lifestyle isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It recognizes that growth is a continuous journey, not a one-time achievement. When you view life through this lens, setbacks become stepping stones, and each day becomes an opportunity to start fresh. For example, a busy parent who prioritizes reading one chapter of a book each night may not finish as quickly as someone with more free time, but their consistency creates a lifelong love of learning. One of the greatest benefits of a habit-centered lifestyle is that it helps you stay adaptable. Life is unpredictable and circumstances change, but habits provide stability. For instance, Emma, a nurse, found herself overwhelmed during the pandemic. Her daily habit of journaling, which she had cultivated years earlier, became her anchor. Writing down her thoughts and gratitude each evening helped her navigate the challenges and maintain her mental well-being. To fully embrace this lifestyle, it's essential to cultivate habits that align with your values and aspirations. Start by asking yourself what truly matters to you. Is it your health, relationships, career, or personal growth? When your habits reflect your core values, they feel meaningful and motivating. For instance, if family is a top priority, a habit of sharing a meal together every evening can strengthen bonds and create lasting memories. Another key aspect of a habit-centered lifestyle is mindfulness. Paying attention to your actions and intentions allows you to make deliberate choices instead of falling into autopilot. For example, Ethan, an entrepreneur, realized he was spending hours on his phone each evening, which left him feeling drained. By practicing mindfulness, he became aware of this habit and replaced it with 20 minutes of reading before bed. This small change improved his sleep and gave him a sense of accomplishment at the end of each day. A habit-centered lifestyle also encourages lifelong learning. When you view growth as a daily practice, you open yourself up to new experiences and knowledge. For example, Mia, a chef, made it a habit to try cooking a new recipe every week. This not only expanded her skills, but also reignited her passion for her craft. By committing to learning as a habit, she continuously evolved and stayed inspired. One of the challenges of maintaining a habit-centered lifestyle is balancing ambition with self-compassion. It's natural to aim high, but it's equally important to be kind to yourself when things don't go as planned. For instance, Jason, a marathon runner, missed several training days due to illness. Instead of feeling defeated, he reminded himself that setbacks are temporary and resumed his training with a renewed sense of purpose. This mindset allowed him to stay committed to his goals without being overly critical of himself. To sustain a habit-centered lifestyle, it's helpful to periodically reflect on your habits and make adjustments as needed. Life is dynamic, and your habits should evolve to support your changing goals and circumstances. For example, Clara, a graphic designer, initially built a habit of working late into the night to grow her business. While this was effective in the beginning, it eventually led to burnout. By reevaluating her habits, Clara shifted to a routine that prioritized balance, allowing her to maintain her productivity and well-being. A habit-centered lifestyle also fosters a sense of gratitude. When you focus on the positive impact of your daily actions, you appreciate the small wins and milestones that might otherwise go unnoticed. For instance, Luke, a teacher, started a habit of reflecting on 3 things he accomplished each day. This practice helped him stay motivated and recognize the value of his efforts. even on challenging days. As you conclude this journey of building habits for lifelong growth, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned. What habits have you cultivated that align with your goals and values? How have these habits shaped your life? Remember, the power of a habit-centered lifestyle lies in its simplicity and consistency. Each small action contributes to a larger picture of success and fulfillment. To apply this chapter's lessons, identify one habit you want to refine or introduce into your daily routine. Consider how this habit aligns with your long-term vision and values. Commit to practicing it consistently, and embrace the process with patience and gratitude. Write it down as a reminder of your commitment to a habit-centered life. A habit-centered lifestyle is not a destination but a journey of growth, learning, and self-discovery. By focusing on the habits that matter most, you create a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Embrace this way of living and watch as your small daily actions lead to extraordinary, lifelong growth. Conclusion: the journey of lifelong growth. As we conclude this journey, remember that building habits for lifelong growth is not about perfection, it's about progress. Each chapter in this book has been a step toward understanding how small, consistent actions can lead to significant, lasting change. From defining your goals and breaking limiting patterns, to building resilience and refining your habits, you now have the tools to create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Thank you for investing your time in this journey of self-improvement. Your commitment to growth is a testament to your potential. If you found value in these lessons, I encourage you to take action and apply them to your daily life. Lastly, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating content that inspires and empowers. Here's to your lifelong success, one habit at a time.